All right, now we're going to read chapter 4. In chapter 3, we left off where Ralph is at the bottom of the waste paper basket and he's basically waiting to find his doom. He's kind of stuck there waiting for the maid to come and dump him into the incinerator. An incinerator is like a fire where they like burn garbage. So that's where we left off. So today's chapter 4 is called Keith. Ralph did not know how much time had passed before he was awakened by the lamp on the bedside table. He squeezed himself into the tiniest ball possible and he wrapped his tail around his body. He tried to make himself as thin as the apple core. "My motorcycle!" shouted Keith. "Somebody stole my motorcycle." "Oh, no," thought Ralph. "It won't be long now." "Nobody stole your motorcycle," answered his mother. "It's just got to be around here somewhere. You just must have misplaced it. You can find it in the morning. Go to bed." "No, I didn't misplace it," insisted the boy. "I put it right here on the table beside my sports car." "You'll find it someplace." Not much interest. Boys are always losing things. While Ralph cowered behind the apple core, Keith opened the drawer beside the table and slammed it shut. He jerked back the bedspread, he yanked up the pillows, he threw them all on the ground. Then he got down on his hands and knees. He looked under the bed, under the table. Ralph wrapped his tail tighter to his body. "Here it comes," he thought. His face is going to appear at the opening of this waste paper basket. Ralph's heart raced like a motor. "Ha!" the boy said to himself. "Here it is. Wonder how it got there." His hand came down into the basket to grab the motorcycle and lift it out. Still leaning over the basket, he examined the belt, the handlebars, the chipped paint. "That's funny," he remarked. "It must have been rolled off. I don't see how." The boy did the natural thing a boy would do. He looked in the waste paper basket again. Ralph closed his eyes so tight and waited. He wished he had not eaten so much of that apple. If he hadn't been so greedy, he might have been a little thinner right now. "Hey," whispered the boy, obviously very much surprised. "How did you get in here?" He was careful not to keep his voice loud. Ralph didn't move. He was grateful to the boy for not touching the apple core, even though it was really no protection at all. "Psst," he whispered. "You sleeping?" Still Ralph remained motionless except for a slight quiver of his whiskers. The boy was silent. The mouse could feel the rhythmic drafts of his breathing. The boy must be thinking. What was he thinking? That was what was worrying Ralph. "No, no," said the boy to himself. "No, it can't be." "Can be what? What's he talking about?" "Hey, wake up," whispered the boy. That was the last thing Ralph wanted to do. Come on, I won't hurt you, I promise." Ralph considered. After all, what did he have to lose? If he stayed in the wastebasket, he was almost certain to get dumped. He might as well come out from behind the core. If he did, he might find some opportunity to escape. Cautiously, he moved his head from his paws and he opened one eye. The boy was smiling. "That's encouraging." "That's the stuff. Now come on, tell me. Did you ride my motorcycle off the bedside table?" This took Ralph by surprise. He hadn't expected the boy to guess what had happened. "Well, yes, I guess you might say I did," confessed Ralph, rubbing his muscles. "I thought so." Neither the mouse nor the boy was the least bit surprised that they could understand each other. Two creatures who shared a love of motorcycles naturally spoke the same language. That must have been some accident. "Did you get hurt?" Some," answered Ralph with a display of bravery. "Anyway, I didn't exactly ride it. I really just kind of coasted off. The telephone rang and it scared me. Now, how about you get me out of here?" "Just a minute," said the boy. "How did you get up here in the first place?" "I climbed the telephone cord." Ralph insistently regret how rude he was. He better watch his tongue if he wanted to get out of here. "Oh, of course," said the boy. "I should have thought of that myself." At the moment, they came to a quick knock at the door and a rattle of keys. "Help! It's the maid! Don't let her see me." Before the boy could do anything, the maid burst into the room. "Oh, excuse me," she said. "I've come to turn down your bed." "Oh, that's okay," said the boy. "I'll just do it myself. Thanks anyways." "Thanks," said the maid, backing out of the room. Ralph knew she was anxious to waste time turning down the bed. As soon as she finished her duties, she was out the door. "Phew, that's close." The boy seemed every bit as relieved as Ralph. "I'll say," agreed the mouse. "Keith," called his mother from room 216, "are you ready for bed?" Sort of." "You better come in our bathroom and take your bath." Oh, come on, Mom, do I have to? Yes, yes, you do, said his father, and don't forget to brush your teeth. I won't, and he whispered to Ralph. You lie low. I'll hurry and take a bath, and then get into bed. My mom will come turn out the light and kiss me goodnight. Then we can talk. Lie low? What else do you want me to do? I couldn't lie any lower than this, he thought. He wanted to get out of here. He didn't want to wait here and lie low. Ralph could hear the boy splashing around in the tub, hastily brushing his teeth, and then the sound of his suitcase being opened, getting his pajamas on. He hopped into bed and turned out the light. In a moment, Mrs. Gridley came in to kiss her son goodnight. Night, Mom, said the boy, sounding as if he was already kind of drowsy. Good night, Keith, said his mother. It looks as if we're going to have to stay here a few days. Your father refuses to move. Oh, that's okay. That's a good boy. Good sport. Good night, son. The father came from the doorway between the rooms. Keith didn't answer. Instead, he breathed, slow and deeply, as Ralph thought a bit noisily. There was no sense of overdoing it. As soon as it was all quiet in the room, the boy swung his legs out of the bed, fumbled around the suitcase, and shone a flashlight into the wastebasket, almost blinding the unexpected Ralph. Hey, cut that out! He couldn't remember to be polite. Oh, sorry, said the boy. The flashlight beamed across the top rather than into it. That's better. Now, how about you get me out of here? Please? The boy ignored the mouse's request. How'd you like to ride my motorcycle? Oh, Ralph's heart skipped a beat like motor missing on one cylinder. The mouse-sized motorcycle would really run after all? There was one thing for certain. Since the motorcycle really would run, the boy would not expect him to ride around the bottom of this garbage bin. Sure. He braced himself. To Ralph's surprise, the boy didn't reach in and grab him. Instead, he slowly and gently tipped the wastebasket over and let Ralph walk out, with pride and dignity. Thanks, he said. I'm glad you didn't grab me. I'm glad you're okay. You can never tell. Ralph put his paw on the handlebars of the motorcycle. This is a real beauty, even with a bent handlebar. Sorry about that. Forget it, said the boy. It won't hurt much. It'll still run. Ralph threw his legs over the motorcycle and settled himself in comfortably in the seat. Perfect. It's just perfect. The boy was so delighted that it was the right size for the mouse. Ralph could not agree more. It was perfect, except for one thing. He didn't know how to start it. Well, go on. Ride it, said the boy. Ralph was ashamed to confess, I don't know how to start it. It's the first motorcycle I've ever got to ride. You have to make a noise. You know, like cars go unless you make a noise. The answer seemed obvious to Ralph. He grasped the handlebars, fearful lest the noise to be too squeaky. He managed a vroom, vroom, vroom. Sure enough, the motorcycle moved. It really and truly moved across the carpet. Ralph was so excited he promptly forgot the noise. The motorcycle stopped. And he started again. Vroom, vroom, vroom. This time he remembered to keep making the noise, and he sped off into the moonlight. Look out for your tail. Don't let it get caught. Oh, thanks for reminding me. He started again. Vroom, vroom. He held the handlebars tightly. It was a glorious sensation to speed around here. Ralph discovered that if he made the noise fast, it would speed up. If he slowed down, it would slow down. He would speed up and race around in the rectangle of the moonlight. When he ran out of breath, the momentum of the motorcycle would carry him until he could take another breath. Oh, gee, you're lucky, said Keith. In order to answer, Ralph had to stop. I am? It never occurred to him that a mouse could be luckier than a boy. You sure are. My mother would never let me ride a motorcycle. She would say that I might break a leg or something silly like that. Well, if you want to come right down to it, I don't suppose my mother would be exactly crazy about the idea either. He began to have an uneasy feeling that he really should be getting back to his mouse hole. Anyway, said the boy, it'll be years and years and years before I'm old enough to even ride a real motorcycle. And even then, my mom won't let me. Ralph really felt sorry for the boy. Go on. You can ride some more. I'll watch. Vroom! And he took off on the motorcycle in the moonlight once more, faster and faster, until he was dizzy from circling around, dizzy from the excitement of the speed. Never mind the danger. Never mind what his mother thought. This was living. This was what he wanted to do. On and on and on. Lucky, whispered the boy with envy. Ralph didn't answer. He did not want to stop. And that's where we're off.